This section is called inventory tracking, also referred to as inventory control. Basically what it is an accounting of the fuel received and the fuel used or sold at a facility versus the quantity of fuel on hand. This is important from a business standpoint because it helps you predict when you need to make your next fuel order and how much fuel you need to order. It's also important from a safety standpoint because it helps you detect incidents such as theft, or oftentimes it's the first indicator that you may have a leak or some loss of product. At a busy gas station in a city, this is typically done on a daily basis. For a normal, smaller village facility, we would recommend that it be done at least once a month. It should be done more often during periods of high use, such as during hunting season. It's also a good idea to check your inventory immediately before and immediately after a delivery so you can see that you got the fuel that you paid for. A sample form is included in the Additional Resources section on this disc. You can use this sample form for your own inventory tracking, or you can make up your own form. For the purposes of this lesson and the example we're going to go through, we will use the standard form that's included on this disc. First, let's go over the form and get familiar with the information that's required. The header at the top includes the facility, the operator's name, the product, the date, and the temperature. The upper portion is referred to as the book inventory. This is based on the record keeping. Okay, the first entry is on line A, where we start with the prior total from your most recent inventory. Below that, we add in any deliveries that were received. We deduct any fuel that was sold through the dispenser. We deduct any fuel that was transferred in bulk. This may be through filling drums, filling up a truck, filling heavy equipment, or possibly transferring to remote tanks that are in other parts of the community. Then we also deduct any fuel used on site that would be feeding a day tank. And then the total of this gives the estimated total fuel on hand. The lower portion is the actual inventory based on tank readings. Line C near the bottom is the total of all the actual tank volumes. Line D is the difference between the actual and estimated totals. Note that there is a column for temperature correction factors. Fuel will expand and contract with the temperature. Most meters are calibrated for 60 degrees Fahrenheit, so the fuel needs to be corrected in volume to the actual temperature. Typically, you would want to use the average temperature over the past 2 or 3 days. In the Additional Resources section of this disc, there is a table of temperature correction factors that you can print out. Okay, now we're going to go through a sample inventory. First, we fill out the top portion, including the average temperature and the product. For this example, we'll use diesel fuel, and the average temperature is 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Then we enter the prior total. This was from line C of the most recent inventory. Then we add the delivery received. In this case, we had 1 airplane load of fuel. We did not apply a temperature correction factor to this entry because the fuel was warm on the airplane at the time of delivery. The next line is for dispensing. In this case, there is no diesel dispensing at this facility, so there was no transfer. The next line is the bulk transfer. We had 1 truckload at 1,175 gallons. When the temperature correction factor for 10 degrees Fahrenheit is applied, this becomes 1,204 gallons. Next, the power plant day tank meter had logged 2,479 gallons during this period. Again, corrected for temperature, this becomes 2,541 gallons. The total of these is the estimated book total on hand. Okay, now we're going to begin with the lower portion. So first we'll go out and take gauge readings for each individual tank, and we'll record the depth in feet and inches on the form. Next, we will take out the volume chart for this tank and read the actual volume. In this case, the first tank has 7 foot 3 inches. This gives us a volume of 18,130 gallons. The corrected volume is 18,583 gallons. You would then go and repeat this process for all of the tanks. Line C is the total of all the individual tank volumes. Subtract line B from line C to get the difference between the actual and the estimated fuel on hand. This will almost always be off a little due to the limited accuracy of the readings. In this example, we are off by 175 gallons, which is acceptable. If there is a large difference, This could indicate a problem. Negative numbers indicate missing fuel. If you have a large discrepancy, you need to take immediate action. First, verify the delivery and the use volume numbers. Second, verify the gauge readings by using a tape measure or a dipstick. Third, check your calculations. If your number is still off, this could indicate you have had theft of product or you may have a leak. Immediately look for evidence of leaks, make arrangements to have the piping pressure tested, take any other actions that are necessary to account for the problem and stop the loss of fuel. Proper operation of a tank farm requires you to make an accurate accounting of the inventory on hand on a regular basis. Make this a part of your standard operating procedure.